New Year resolutions don't work, here's what I do instead. It's close to the end of the year, you're feeling excited, you're winding down, and you're feeling inspired to plan your New Year goals, resolutions for the year ahead. But what usually happens, right, from my experience after training more than 3,000 people, right, on business, productivity, mindset, is this. You get inspired for the first couple of days, weeks, or even months, but slowly and surely the level of drive, energy, and motivation you seem to wane slowly. And here's why I believe that New Year's resolutions are somewhat useless, right, unless you do a couple of things I'm going to share in this video, right, correctly and precisely. And hey folks, right, so Mark here. So what we do is we actually help, right, entrepreneurs to build a lucrative lifestyle business, right, with proven systems and mentorship. So I do all these videos so that you don't have to repeat the mistakes I did. You get to accelerate your progress, right, towards achieving a dream life and income. And if you love to work with us somewhere down in the future, right, that will be wonderful and great as well. But most importantly, you must implement. Right? So what I'm sharing with you today, right, is exactly how me and many of my clients accomplish our goals, right, our New Year goals, right, our resolutions, our dreams, right, for the year, right, and beyond as well. So these are the exact tips, strategies, and perspectives that I've only previously shared with many of my private clients, right, but to help more people, right, I'm sharing you all for free today. So the first lesson here, right, is instead of just doing New Year resolution and goals, right, is to conduct what we call an annual review. So this is something I learned about 4 to 5 years ago by this guy called James Clear, right, author of the legendary book Atomic Habits. What you want to do is, before even planning your goals, right, and whatnot, you want to conduct an annual review because you want to allow yourself to reflect, right, on the year, learn your lessons, reflect on your perspectives, your milestones, what you have gone through, right, to make sure that you actually get better, you grow, you bring all these perspectives and extra wisdom for the years ahead. One huge thing about the annual review is you also get to acknowledge your wins as well. And if you followed this man called Tony Robbins, he talks constantly about the power of acknowledging yourself, right, showing gratitude and acknowledging your own wins, because chances are most of us, right, don't actually have the time to acknowledge ourselves. Every time we feel we don't achieve the goals we want, we start beating ourselves, we start feeling a bit bad, right? And even when we actually do achieve or surpass the goals we have set up, we don't even let ourselves feel good, right, about ourselves. And unconsciously, right, your nervous system, right, is going to be asking like, so what the hell are you working so hard for? And that's actually the reason why a lot of people tend to procrastinate. They don't feel very good or fulfilled with what they do, simply because they actually don't acknowledge themselves as well. So this is part of the power of an annual review. So what you're going to do, right, in terms of an annual review, right, is you're going to use it in 4 categories. Right? I've done an enhancement, right, of the annual review process, right, just to support my goals, and hope you can use it as well. So number 1, right, is you're going to divide, right, your categories of life, right, into four key areas: your health, your wealth, your relationships, and yourself. And so by doing that, right, it gives you at least a more complete and more structured process to adopt or to reflect on your life and to set your goals for what's ahead as well. And you want to answer these 3 questions, right, when doing an annual review. It can be done in a blog form, you can write it in a post, you can just do it in your own perspectives, you can draw it out, you can do it even internally without sharing with people. Or what I like to do, I like to share publicly, right, to get perspectives, to hopefully inspire some other people, right, and as a public declaration for my own self as well. So you're going to answer these 3 questions, right? Number 1, what have went well for you over the year? Alright, so what are some things that have went well, that you actually acknowledge yourself for, right, that you actually feel that you have achieved some goals, that you actually feel good and happy about. 2, what didn't go so well, right, what things could have improved, right, what things maybe you didn't hit the goals, or you went far behind, right, whatever you want to set out yourself to do. You actually want to be objective and to write down, right, what happened and a little bit of why, right, do you think that happened as well, right? Was it more of a situation, an external thing, or is it more of a personal thing? And the last thing is, what am I working towards? So what am I working towards basically is what are some of your goals, right? And again, you don't have to have specific goals all the time, right? But, right, just have to be clear, like, what are some of the main things you're working towards, right, for the next year, right? So that you get a better idea, right, of clarity of direction as well. And if you need anything, I also have put some of my sample of my previous blog posts, right, for your reference. It's close to the end of the year, right? I like to do it, right, like do it alone, right, in a cafe. Sometimes I can be alone, but with a bit of buzz or energy. Some of you might like doing a more quiet space, like a library, right, or in my own house at all. But I like to do it when a place where I'm feeling a bit more inspired, a bit more energetic, instead of my usual working environment. I spend about 1 to 4 hours, right, to do this entire exercise, because this can be a very powerful perspective to ground yourself, right, for whatever happened in a year and to plan for the next year ahead. Next thing, 90-day goals and priorities. The problem with 1-year goals, what I've realized, trying to plan my own goals and resolutions, is that a couple of problems might arise. Number 1, a lot of things can change in the entire 1 year. Some years there might be COVID, some years there might be market, some years you might have a great opportunity for a job or work. The problem is, right, if you just stick to your 1-year goals, a lot of things that change, it doesn't adapt, right, to whatever is happening throughout the year as well. And number 2, right, is that because it's 1 year, your mind will be like, there's so much time, right, ahead of me, right? So let me just take my time, chill a little bit, right? And some seem so far away, right, that your brain cannot connect whatever your actions are doing right now to the end year goals also. And so what I do instead right now, instead of just having pure 1-year goals, I have what I call 90-day sprints or 90-day goals or priorities. One thing I started setting that up was I realized the reason why people are overwhelmed, overloaded, is simply because they are not so sure what their focus is. Because once you are clear of your priorities, right, you start having enough time for them, you start being more focused and start being more directed, right, towards achieving them also. So what I do right now, right, is every quarter, right, I set about 3 to 5 of my main priorities in any area of my life. For example, right, even if I don't set that as a priority, it doesn't mean that I don't care about the area of life. So what do I mean? So let's say for some reason, right, next quarter, right, my priorities are to increase my business sales, to find clarity and alignment, vision of life I really enjoy, maybe to have a better relationship, right, with my wife. But for some reason, let's say I did not put health, right, in that top 3 to 5 priorities of my life. It doesn't mean I do not care about my health. Just that I might not spend as much time, right, thinking about it, strategizing, reviewing it, as compared to the other 3 goals of priority I set for that quarter, right? And for my health, it becomes more of like setting a minimum baseline for in terms of my actions and my perspectives. What I do then is every quarter, right, I have a mini retreat, right, for myself where I take about 2 to 4 hours to review my priorities, and then, right, because of that, I start to set more short-term goals, right, for me to aspire and to move towards, right? I get to have a clearer idea and action plan for the 12 to 13 weeks. I'm able to switch them up and review them every quarter, right? And I'm able to adapt based on what has gone through the past quarter as well. So what I would heavily recommend for people, instead of just New Year goals, right, plan your goals, plan your priorities on a 90-day basis. Trust me, you'll move a lot faster, right? And if you want to find out a quick resource about this, right, it can be the 90-day year or it can be the 12-week year as well. And my third lesson, right, is all about systems, right, over goals. Right, another of my favorite quote, right, by our James Clear again, right, is that you'll never rise to the level of your ambition. You'll always fall to the level of your systems. And this is a quote that I've taken for my life, right, over and over and over again, which is I can be as inspired, motivated, I can jump up as high as I want, right, but I will never be able to achieve the goals, right, I set out to do without the right systems or the right actions or processes for me to get there. But at the end of the day, right, systems are just repeatable actions you can take over and over again, right? So every time I set a goal, right, or perspective, I always set up my action plans on an ongoing basis for me to achieve them as well. For example, right now, right, if your goal, right, was to get 10,000 followers, right? That's a great, ambitious, right, driven goal. That's great. But the question is, what actions are you going to do to get there? Is it every week going to commit to actually posting 3 times, right? Is it for you to spend at least 3 hours, right, learning on content, marketing, social media, right, every single week, no matter what, right? Is it every day, right, spending at least 15 minutes, right, observing other more successful, right, creators, right, content, studying them, what they do? So you want to always be very clear, right, about the actions you're going to take, right, when it comes to achieving your goals as well. Fourth thing, right, becoming goals, right? Earlier on, right, in my business journey, right, like I say, I invested more than $30,000 on a mentor, right, and I had a one-to-one physical meetup with him, right, which people paid $1,000s for, right, and the biggest lesson was simply this. So what I did, it was close to the end of the year, right, and I started asking him about maybe setting some of my goals, right, my strategies, right, my direction, right, for the year, right, and after hearing me for a couple of minutes sharing about my concerns, my worries, right, he just told me one thing. The biggest mistake most people have is that they only set external achievement-based goals, but they never set what we call becoming goals. So what does becoming goals means, right? In terms of, right, what's your attitude, or what's the intention, right, or what's the energy or trait you like to adopt for the year ahead. For example, right, as of this time of the video, right, my goal for next year, right, is to just be a little bit more aggressive and active. Not because I just want to go crazy, right? It's just that now that I've gotten the clarity, right, because my previous year's focus was just being more clear and grounded over what I really wanted, right? My next year becoming goal is to be more aggressive, right, active, right, in terms of aggressive adding value, right, aggressive in my business, right, aggressive in terms of going for what I want, rather than, right, trying to jump over from one thing to another, right? So the attitude or energy, right, can be in terms of doing, is it to be more patient, right, for personal life? Is it to be more committed, right? Is it to be more direct, right? Is it to be more kind, right? So you can have different becoming goals for different areas of life, right? But the one thing to know is, besides setting just tangible achievement-based goals, you can set what I call becoming goals as well. And as James Clear says, right, the identity you bring is one of the most powerful tactics that anyone can have when it comes to confirming or to guaranteeing that they'll do their habits over and over again. So the question is, what's the becoming goal you want to set for the next year ahead? So the fifth lesson, right, is the one thing. Right, so over my lifetime, I've already read about more than 100 productivity, personal development, high performance books, right? And the one book that has constantly stood out for me over the years, right, is this book simply called The One Thing, right? And the one thing all boils down to just constantly asking yourself that one question that's going to help to supercharge your growth, your productivity, your performance, your results in a very short period of time. What is the one thing you can do that will make everything else unnecessary or easier? So I might butcher the code a little bit and there, right? But the main question to ask is simply, right, what's the one thing you're going to do to supercharge everything else, right, to make everything else a lot easier, right, or make every other result, right, a lot more, right, easier and a lot more progressive, right, to get. But the big question is, right, what's the one big thing you like to achieve for the year ahead? What's the one big thing for health? What's the one big thing for wealth? What's the one big thing for relationships? What's the one big thing for your becoming or your self goal, right? So for example, right, the one big thing for health, right, could be, right, to lose 15 kg. And everything else, right, is just going to support that one big goal of losing that particular weight. The one big goal you have, right, particularly for wealth, is to generate $250,000 in revenue or even further, right? And once you do that, right, everything becomes easier or unnecessary as well. For relationship, right, is your one big thing, right, to achieve a better relationship, right, to achieve a 10 out of 10, right, with a wife, your partner, right, and there's a one big thing, right, for you to achieve towards where you want to go. The last bonus, right, is what we call creating connection messages. So this is a quick bonus tip that I've been doing for about past 10 years even, right? And it might not really just help your business or income, but just for you to just live a higher quality of life. So what do I mean, right? So I did it for fun previously when I was a student, right? So what I did is, while I love hanging out with my friends and whatnot, but usually at the end of the year, some of us will go for holidays, we wouldn't meet with all our friends at the time. So, and the thing is, I love connecting with my friends. So what I did previously, right, was I would use my phone, right? At that point of time was a Nokia, right? And I would just start messaging, right? Happy New Year messages and whatnot. But I realized that if I just send a Happy New Year message, right, or Merry Christmas, right, it's just going to be common for everybody, right? And I realized that I couldn't really communicate that level of connection or love or gratitude for my friends just by sending Happy New Year, right? And so I decided to take it one step further, right, by sharing, right, some of my perspectives, my reflections, right, my well wishes for the year. It'll be a long, mini little essay, right, that I'll go beyond, right, the minimum for everybody, and allow me to stand out and allow me to connect with a lot of people, right, that I wouldn't have otherwise done, because most people are just sending generic Happy New Year messages anyway. What I do, right, is and I do it typically before the end of the year, right? So typically 1-2 weeks before the end of the year, because if I do it on the day itself, right, just of Christmas itself or Christmas or the New Year, messages get flooded, right, and then you would just lose out, right, because everybody just trying to reply to everybody else, right? So what I do, right, is I share some of my lessons, right, my reflections for the year, right, just for them to find out more about what I've been through, right, for the year. I send some of my well wishes, right. I send them what I'm grateful for them about as well, right, and I send them some resources or bonuses or gifts that I feel that could benefit their lives, right, in any area. Also, what I do is I send one message. I create one long message, right, as a like mini letter, and I send to all my personal friends, my family members, my loved ones, right, just for them to get a little bit of understanding of what is going on for my life. And I would just say, hey, feel free to message me what's going on in your life, because I would love to find out how it's done as well. And I do this every single year, such that, right, even if there's some people I haven't met or connected with for a long time, right, I'm able to connect them just a very quick base of message also, right? And even if you're in the business space, like financial planner and whatnot, right, or you're actually trying to run to get clients or leads, right, this is a very powerful way for you to just get some form of connection, some get the first conversation first, and then, right, you can, for people who might be qualified or people who might need your services, you can invite them for a one-to-one call appointment with you after that also, right? But the worst case, right, the worst case, right, scenario is even if you don't get any sales connections or appointments, right, you get to connect with people, you get to arrange catch-ups, right, and you get to make people's day as well. Right, so with that, I hope you guys enjoyed, right, this video, right, about how I actually set up my new year, right, for ultimate success and accomplishment. It's not just about setting new year resolutions, because that is great, but it might not really help you out in the long term. So I hope you enjoyed this video, right? Share your lessons here, and I'll talk to you very soon.